Let's go through the process of submitting an order on MyLabOrder. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is I'm just going to log into my admin account on MyLabOrder. Alright, I'm going to go to the QR generator page and I'm going to see, so for site 1 I have this URL which will direct myself or patients to the intake form for specifically for my lab, Kiyum Lab, and for Site 1. We can also present patients with this QR code, which will do the same thing. It will direct them to an intake form where they can input their information specifically for Kiyum Lab and for Site 1, Facility Site 1. So since I'm not doing this on my phone, I'm just going to copy the URL and paste that in a new browser. So we see if patients use the QR code, they will be redirected here. We see that the lab name that they're submitting an order for is Kiyum Lab. The site is Site 1 and they're not able to change that because they used that specific QR code. If we were to present patients with a different QR code, let's say, as we wait for this to refresh, Site 5, so the QR code for Site 5, if we were to present them with that, we would see that they would be directed to the same lab name and a different site that they're not able to change. So, okay, so let's go ahead and we can fill out the information for Site 1. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's put an email address. And we can see that email addresses are important because this is how we will be sending patients their reports. If I were to misspell my email address and try to move on, the website would tell me that the confirmation email does not match the original email that we submit. So we can go ahead and fix that. All required fields are marked with an asterisk and non-requireds are not. So we can choose to leave this information empty or complete it. I'm going to leave these fields empty. We were prompted to upload a driver's license front, an image of the front of our driver's license and the image of the front of our insurance card. Again, these are not required fields. And then to sign. Just if I can revisit this real quick. So for patients doing this, filling out this form on their phone, we have found that patients usually have information stored in their browser, so their demographic information, their first name, last name, date of birth, etc. And so filling out one field usually allows the browser to fill out all the other relevant fields, and that's usually the fastest way for them to complete the form. However, they do have the option of taking a picture of the driver's license, the back of it, and the image processing software will try and get that information, and if it is successfully able to get the information, it will populate the respective fields. There are a couple fields that will not be populated, for example, race and ethnicity, that information is not present on the driver's license. Also, if you are a station or facility that is entering patient data for them instead of patients entering it themselves, you can choose to purchase a PDF 417 or stacked barcode scanner. You can hook that up to the computer on which you are accessing your website, your form. You can click inside the box, scan the back of the license, this barcode specifically, and when that information populates in this window, it's going to be a series of letters and numbers. After that's done, you can hit process, and also similarly, it will try and populate all the relevant fields with the patient information. Okay, so once that's all completed, especially all required fields, and we have our signature, and we can optionally upload a picture of our driver's license and insurance card, we'll press submit. Okay, says your order has been submitted. This is the name of the patient, and it gives a code. Now this code is important. It's important to instruct the patients that come to your facility to make note of this code, and for them to tell you that, yes, I submitted an order and this is my confirmation code. The reason that's important is that we want to make sure patients have actually successfully submitted an order, and using this code we can verify that they have. So 284794, as an admin or as a site administrator, we can log in. I'm already logged in, I believe. We can go to the intake list, and we can see that we've got a submission here, 284794, which is the order submission that we have just submitted. And so that allows us just to verify that indeed the order has been submitted. If I had hundreds of patients in this list, I could search by that code. So let's search by this right here. Paste it there and search, and we would see just that has been returned. Okay. All right. Let's go refresh it. Okay. Now, if this patient that we just submitted was receiving a rapid test as well as the PCR test, obviously the PCR test, the sample would be sent back to the lab and to be processed. The rapid test would most likely be performed on site. Now, it is an option for the site employees to perform that test and deliver that result to the patient. So for this patient, if we click the edit button, we can see here the most important thing to note here is, first of all, that you are resulting the correct patient and that the email is correct. If it just so happens that the email was input incorrectly 2 times, you can change the email here. And press update email. Okay, the email has now been updated. We can simply review the report. We'll see that there is no result at this time because we have not resulted it. Okay, and then we can choose to result them. So we run the rapid test and find that they are negative. We press negative. We see that this patient has a negative test result. We can close this and refresh the list, and we find that one of the updates that we made was the email, and now they have a negative result. This result has not been sent. If we wanted to do so, in this same pop-up, we could press send email, and we could refresh this list, and we'd see that that email has not been sent.